Great. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze. Thank you all so much for making the time to hang out with me and understanding that time is a social construct, everybody. It's a colonialist construct. The colonizers said be on time. I said, we African. The punctuality or lack thereof is not a demerit on our character. You know what I'm saying? We get there when we get there, and the jam starts when we get there. So the jam started when you guys got here, and I appreciate the way that my folks in the Fire Fam dialogue, chat, in a sec, check in with each other because I dare I say, undefeated chat in these YouTube streets, Fire Fam. We have few rivals. Big up to Holly Horn. Big up to NA. Appreciate some of our newer folks hanging around. Palestine Action. Come on in. Appreciate it. See Bruv Latif out there as well, holding it down on the mod job. So thank you all so much for joining us. Please be sure to engage, interact with the video. Come kick it. It's so weird, y'all. So on some weeks, the lives will do well. On rare occasions, they'll do really well. Tens of thousands of views. I'm not even exaggerating. And then YouTube would be like, because here's the thing. I know y'all like, Kim, maybe your content sucks. Maybe it does, but I disagree because I talk about the same shit all the time. Basically, I stay in the same 4 or 5 lane highway. You understand? I stay on the same pathways, basically. So why do my shits do good some days and not do good other days? Riddle me this, algorithms. But it doesn't really matter because I appreciate all that check in live, all that check in later. And tonight is a Cops Ain't Shit episode, gang. We could talk about how the Democrats, at the risk of sounding homophobic, and it's not my intention to do so, but grab their ankles. The Democrats said, "Oh, you want us to reach to the ankles, or you want me to touch the tops of my feet? How far down shall we bend? GOP." Senate Democrats, 8 of them, agreed with Republicans to reopen the government, to not give any concessions pertaining to the Affordable Care Act, healthcare subsidies that many people are going to see evaporate or quickly expire if they haven't already. It is nasty work right now in America, y'all. I can only imagine that the goal of the elites is to break us all, is to just hit the working class with so many fucking punches, gut punches to the face, punches to the body, to the head, taking kidney shots out here. I mean, the working class is getting worked over right now. Even those that thought that they were in relatively secure position, like those who were government workers, but ain't nobody safe out here. The computer science geeks, also not safe. Nobody's safe. Factory workers, not safe. Car manufacturers, not safe. Nobody is safe out here, gang. They are doing a damn good job of breaking everything. It is like, whoa. And on some levels, you guys know, from sort of an esoteric philosophical woo-woo level, something like this had to happen, right? The system has to break in order for the new thing to be able to emerge. But it's nasty times while that shit is breaking down, falling down into ruin. And it's like, goddamn, this would be way more interesting if I was not right here in the midst of it, goddamn, in the heart of it, in proximity to the fucking Capitol. It'd be so nice to be watching this shit from a distance. But let me say this. At some point, gang, us, the proletariat, you guys do understand that with all the impositions, life challenges, literal survival challenges that Trump and the elites are putting on the working class and the poor, were this another place, an uprising, a mass uprising would have already happened. Imagine in France, in fucking Bolivia, when they tell the people, hey, your healthcare is about to, well, first of all, I think all those places don't pay for healthcare. I think the state does that. But regardless, in a similar situation, if you told peoples of a different nation that their healthcare was either going to go away or double or triple in price, they'd be in the streets literally ripping every fucking thing down. Everything would be on fire. Okay, literally everything would be on fire. Oh, the government is cutting food subsidies for the poorest folks. Paris would be burning. Okay, Paris would be smoldering right now. Like, what the fuck? Americans are so deeply indoctrinated. We're so lobotomized. Like, we're so tame. As badass as we think we are with all of our guns. What's the brother's name that I like to watch on TikTok? I know y'all like him. I know you like to watch a lot of brothers. I do. No, I'm kidding. But the Muslim brother who I mistakenly just thought was a light-skinned Negro, and turns out he's a whole ass white man. But is it Dr. Khalid? It's not Dr. Khalid. It starts with a K. Regardless, he said, America, with all your guns, he said, if they, the elites, the owners and operators of global financial capital, etc., the interesting acronym that he usually spits out. But anyway, he said if they thought that you were in any danger of using those guns on them, they wouldn't let you have the fucking guns. He said they let you have the guns because they know you're not going to use them on those that are actually oppressing you. And I don't think he's wrong. I don't think he's wrong. We're seeing whole ass state abductions, human trafficking, child endangerment. And that's part of what I want to talk about on today's installation of Cops Ain't Shit, how these motherfuckers are themselves the danger, the menace to public safety. The cops can't keep us safe because they're a bunch of jackbooted thugs who lack either knowledge or respect or recognition of the actual law that they are supposed to be upholding. But we know historically cops' role in America has been as slave catchers, as people that were in charge of keeping the ne'er-do-wells, the poors, in their place. And guess what? They're doing a lot of the same, if not all the same, right now. Except the fugitive slave catching it's slaves of all stripes. Catch a slave, pick a color, any color. Just got to be non-white. That makes the person eligible for state intervention. Isn't that crazy? This is the times that we live in. Open Google Docs. Let's go Google Docs. Let's get this shit cracking. So let me start at the federal level here. Welcome, everybody. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this Tuesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please engage. Shout out to the Fire Fam, the wonderful chat that we have present with us. So as you guys know, the ongoing Operation Midway Blitz by a cornucopia of federal agencies continues to be happening across Chicagoland. And the head of Border Patrol, this fucking cracker, this Nazi, he is a proud foot soldier in the Third Reich or the Fourth Reich. I don't know which Reich the Trump administration might fall under, but a happy Yahtzee to do his duties. Greg Bovino, I'm sure you guys have seen him. So this guy has been photographed, or rather recorded, throughout Chicago on a number of ICE, I can't call them raids, the mass domestic terrorism operations that they're doing in Chicago, where they're going into not exclusively, but predominantly Latino neighborhoods like Little Village and literally abducting people off the streets. I'm sure you guys heard about the story of the teacher at the daycare center where these fuckers went into the daycare center terrorizing children to extract this woman who had legal papers to be in the country. It's a mess. So, this that we're about to see is Bovino in court in Chicago. This was last week, so first week of November of 25. And there was a shooting, as I told you guys about a few weeks ago, of a badass sister by the name of Midamar Martinez. Midamar got shot 5 times by a so-called ICE agent. She survived. She is also facing federal charges, but her attorneys allege that the accounting given by the federal agents is not consistent with the evidence or the actual truth. And we know cops ain't shit, in part because these motherfuckers lie. They commit brutality, they commit mayhem, they brag about it, they cover for each other, and of course they lie to the public about it. So this video is actually going to open with Bovino, high-ranking Yahtzee. He is giving a pep talk to ICE and Border Patrol agents in Los Angeles during I would say during the federal surge in LA, but that has never abated. So I guess the initial surge of federal agents throughout Southern California. And just listen to the shit that he's saying, y'all. Like, there's no question that this is an army of secret police that has been raised domestically, comprised not exclusively, but primarily of white men who hold racist, white supremacist, white nationalist views, who cannot wait to go out and terrorize hardworking individuals simply because they are Black and brown and Asian and Persian. I've seen him harass the fucking Iranian brothers and sisters. This is some I hate it here so fucking bad, Jesus. But anyway, let's watch this clip, y'all. It's eye-opening. Take a listen.
Arrest as many people that touch you as you want to. Those are the general orders all the way to the top. Everybody fucking gets it if they touch you. You hear what I'm saying? Less legals. We're going to look at shipping tractor trailer loads of that shit in here. So you catch what it's all about us now. It ain't about them. Professional, legal, ethical, and moral. You know what we're talking about. Legal, ethical, moral. You're on camera. But other than that, it's what we do.
What city is it, Chief?
Fucking Iris's fire fucking city.
Sir, is that you in the video, and did you say these things to the agents under your command on June 7 in Los Angeles?
That appears to be me, and it appears to be what I said there on sometime. I don't know what the date of that was.
Do you recall saying those things?
I don't recall everything. I don't recall everything. No.
But you have no doubt that you said that.
I believe that I said what was on the video there.
All right. So the instruction that you gave to your officers was that they had full reign to arrest anyone who so much as touched them. That, in essence, was what you said to the officers, right?
No.
Should we interpret you as saying something different?
I don't know how you want to interpret me, but that's not what I said.
Okay.
That's Bovino giving testimony pertaining to, obviously, his words that he directed his ICE officers there in Los Angeles. But Bovino, again, has been spotted numerous times throughout Chicago incidents. In some, like, they've shown this man throwing tear gas canisters just wantonly on the streets in proximity of elementary schools, in proximity of people walking down the street minding their fucking business who don't have shit to do with shit that ICE and Homeland Security is out here doing. They're literally gassing US citizens and residents of the Chicagoland area. It's crazy work. And I want to show again this case with Miramar because these people across the country that are showing resistance are incredibly brave. Let me just lead with that. As much as I talked out the side of my neck about us as a country, being a little bit of cowardice for not tearing the shit all the way up, given all of the slaps that we are receiving from the federal government, but coming from the upper class, from the upper crust, there are folks among us that are putting their bodies on the line, that are putting their freedom on the line, are putting their literal livelihoods on the line in order to put pressure on this administration and on these so-called law enforcement officers to show that they are actually literally kidnapping people, being the actual criminals themselves, right? It's crazy to me. I think Trump recently, I don't know if this was on Truth Social, who knows, like, when Pawpaw starts sundowning, like, or when Pawpaw first wakes up in the morning at 4:30 a.m. and gets on the social media, he be on a tear. But Trump, I guess, posted somewhere on social media that the crime levels in Chicago have gone down, and it's like, well, actually, they seem to have gone up because there are ICE agents out here committing traffic accidents. They're ramming people, they're shooting people, they're killing people, they're abducting people, they're brutalizing people, they are injuring people during the course of these interactions. It's nasty work. And again, like I said, the cops themselves are the crime problem. They are the crime wave single-handedly. So let's go to Chicago. This was from just days ago, maybe let's say maybe Friday. Friday would be what? Today's Tuesday, the 11th, the 7th, 8th, somewhere in there. Anyway, so this is actually a pretty good report from a young sister out of Chicago, breaking down Greg Bovino's testimony again towards a judge that had placed a temporary restraining order on Border Patrol against deploying munitions, against brutalizing and singling out members of the press for brutality, which they have been proven to have done. And seemingly, Border Patrol, Homeland Security, and ICE have been ignoring this judge's directive. So let's pick up the story from there.
A long day in court for sure. Interesting, a long day in court for sure. The defense asked several questions of the Border Patrol agent that shot Miramar Martinez 5 times. They used his own words against him in court, showing his mindset after the shooting and calling into question if he had a motive for wanting to get rid of evidence, or did the government have a stake in covering up evidence. The shooting, October 4th, happened in Brighton Park. The government claimed Border Patrol agent Charles Exum, along with the other 2 agents in his government-issued 2015 Chevy Tahoe, felt their lives were endangered, claiming that Martinez rammed into them. Agent Exum dialed back the ramming claim in court. At issue is why evidence from the SUV wasn't fully preserved. Only pictures, paint chips, and some digital data from the SUV was collected. Judge Georgia Alizakis pressed federal prosecutor Lee DeWalt specifically on why the Tahoe was released just hours after the shooting, while the cars of Miramar Martinez and Anthony Ian Santos Ruiz still remain impounded. Agent Exum says his boss made the call to have a mechanic remove scuffs and also make repairs, but a 4-page report from an FBI agent says Exum admitted himself that he called for those repairs. Exum, a 23-year Border Patrol veteran, described Operation Midway Blitz as disorganized with no no clear command. Within hours, we know of that shooting, the FBI released the vehicle back to Exum, and he eventually drove it from Chicago to Maine, where he's stationed. That's over 1,100 miles. Now, the most striking details in court came from Exum's text messages. 24 hours after the shooting, his first text about the incident said this: "Cool, I'm up for another round of FAFO and LMAO." A lot of expletives here. He later sent a group text on an encrypted app known as Signal to other Border Patrol agents with a Guardian article about the shooting. He followed up saying this, read it: "5 shots, 7 holes. I have a MOF amendment to add to my story. Fired 5 rounds, and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys." Agent Exum texted his wife, "Oh, well, it is what it is." After another article was sent, he texted her an expletive that says blank happens. He then texted his brother about the shooting as well, saying, "Laugh out loud, gracias, FAFO," following up with this: "Sweet, my 15 minutes of fame, LMAO." Another hearing is scheduled to happen in the coming days to determine if evidence was mishandled in this case. The attorneys for Miramar Martinez want to hear from several key people here, including the FBI agent that interviewed Exum, the U.S. attorney that authorized the release of that car, and also another FBI agent that called for that release to happen. The defense also wants their accident and reconstruction expert to take the stand. And this is really what they want in this case. They want questions answered. 2 questions here: who called for the Border Patrol agent's government-issued Tahoe to be released, and who called for the repairs to that SUV before the defense could fully examine it? Of course, the agent was on the stand for 2 hours. We will continue to follow this as we have from the very beginning. Tia Ewing, Fox 32, Chicago.
Tia Ewing giving it to y'all right there, son. Tia Ewing just delivered a pile of information. Shout out to the sister out there, Chi-Town. That was excellent reporting from Tia Ewing. And basically, Tia Ewing is reporting on a federal law enforcement cover-up of the shooting of an innocent civilians, plural, Miramar. And to be clear, and I, the reporter didn't have to point this out in the package, but when Exum, the Border Patrol cop who shot Miramar, I'm not going to even say allegedly because I don't think it's even in dispute because he admitted to it in text messages. This Border Patrol agent who shot this woman 5 times texted to his family members and to his colleagues that he put 5 holes in her, but there's 7 holes in her. That is him being sexually derogatory. You understand? Like these motherfuckers are disgusting, gross human beings. And the violence towards women is something that they celebrate amongst themselves, right? They can't even help it. It's so ingrained. Doing the violence is only funner when you get to do it against one of these bitches. Because she already had 2 holes. I put 5 more in them. Now she got 7. Her. Fuck you. I think his name was what? Charlie Exum from Maine, who was allowed to retrieve evidence in a police-involved shooting. Jesus, I hate that. Oh, God. I'm sorry. In the shooting of him shooting a civilian, a U.S. citizen, not that matters, but in the context, just for FYI, he was allowed to remove evidence that was part of an active investigation. He was allowed to get this evidence altered, repaired. He was allowed to drive this evidence 1,100 miles away to his home state. By the way, Exum's in Maine. You guys know this guy's brother? You know his parents? You know his wife? Should you be friendly with them? Should you buy her honey at the fucking farmer's market? Hell no. Again, social ostracization is a component to making these motherfuckers, these goddamn Nazis, these fucking kidnappers, these human traffickers, at minimum, they must feel uncomfortable in their day-to-day social interactions. And if that extends towards their immediate family, if his brother is made to feel uncomfortable, his wife, his parents are made to feel uncomfortable, hey, Jim, I heard your boy. Isn't that your son, Charlie? I saw it in the news. He shot a lady and he was bragging about it. Is that how you raised him? Don't y'all go to blank and blank church on Sundays? Is that what you taught your boy? Like, start going at these motherfuckers. Verbally only. We do not advocate violence. Though we do support self-defense. And Border Patrol Officer Exum was not in fear for his life. Miramar Martinez's defense alleges that they have body cam footage, or body cam footage exists that shows that she did not ram them. And in spite of Miramar being armed, she was a legal carrier of a concealed weapon. She never pulled it out. So what was y'all in fear of exactly? Right. I'm watching that case. Super fascinated. This lady is a and again, salutes to all the community response team members, community members, organizers across the country who are doing what needs to be done, and as much as we're able to do, right? I know I know people think, or maybe rightly or wrongly, that we could soon be in a civil war, which is, maybe not so far off. But I do appreciate the community groups that are getting the communications, the alerts out. Countless people have likely not been snatched, not been taken, because people are driving around tailing these ICE convoys, right? Disseminating information about makes and models and plate numbers of these ICE vehicles, a description of the ICE officers themselves, telling people where they have been spotted, which neighborhoods, which businesses. I mean, they are literally out here saving people's lives. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I want to move on to my next cops ain't shit story. Appreciate y'all being here. In case you're new here, just in case you're new here, it's double middle fingers to the law around here, because the cops don't stop crime, they don't prevent crime. In fact, they cause crime. In fact, they themselves are the threats and dangers to public safety. Let me take you to northern New Jersey. Something that actually happened this past weekend, November 9. It was a Sunday, 2 p.m. Broad fucking daylight. We riding on I-280 near exit 11. My Jersey folks, you know where it's at. New Jersey State Troopers were in pursuit of a black sedan. As of this airing, I'm not clear as to why police were in pursuit. I saw an article off of New Jersey 101.5, New Jersey's leading news leader, leading leaders. Anyway, they didn't mention that the police had released a reason for the pursuit. But I'm going to take you to this video that was shot by a motorist who had a way too up close account of the New Jersey State Troopers basically opening fire on a crowded highway with innocent people unknowingly driving by a scene in which cops were just wantonly shooting. It's amazing that nobody died. And content warning and trigger warning, the driver of the black sedan was indeed shot. He is reported to be injured. I'm not clear on what kind of condition that this driver is in, but he did not die. He did survive this encounter, which when you guys see it and hear this shit, you're going to be shocked that this person, whoever they are, you're going to be shocked that they are still alive. But I want you just to pay attention to how cars are driving by this scene when the cops decide to open fire on I-280 in New Jersey on a Sunday afternoon. Let's take a look.
Don't get out! Don't get
Don't
out!
get out! Get the shit out of here!
James, you're blocking. This isn't funny. I pray to God that everybody's okay. Seriously, though, this is crazy. What is going on?
Uh-oh, he's trying to move. He's trying to drive. Oh, my God.
Oh, wait,
and he's stupid.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, somebody was shot.
Yeah, don't go nowhere near it.
Yeah, we need to go away. We ain't got to...
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Move.
Yeah.
Move. 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 Oh, my God. Move. Move.
Relax, Angel. It's okay.
I'm not relaxing.
Relax,
Oh, my
relax,
God.
relax.
Oh, my God.
We're okay,
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my. Imagine that's what you see as you're driving on the highway or stopped in traffic as police attempt to pull somebody over, and then all of a sudden they open fire. In the article that I saw on NJ101.5.com, they said that cops fired over a dozen shots. Gang, that sounded way more over a dozen. That was like damn near 30 shots. Like that was a lot of bullets unloaded. And the cops didn't bother to close the highway. They didn't bother to set up a barricade. They didn't bother to try to stop traffic, stop innocent motorists from driving by. I mean, bullets find their way to innocent folks unintentionally all the time. That was reckless endangerment, a reckless discharge of a firearm. Now, allegedly, the New Jersey State's Attorney General is looking into this, or the Attorney General for New Jersey has opened an investigation into this. But what is the likelihood that anything will come of this, right? All these fucking cops have to say is that they were in fear for their lives. He refused to pull over. Okay. I mean, don't we have stop sticks? Don't we have a myriad of ways in order to slow down a driver who fails to comply, who fails to pull over? And again, I'm curious that there has been scant information released about this so far, very light reporting. The police, the New Jersey State Troopers are not saying too much. In fact, they have not released the name of the driver who was shot by police, as we just saw there. Haven't released a name as of today, the 11th of November, and haven't given a reason as to why this person was being pulled over by cops in the first place. But it's a crystal clear example that these cops won't hesitate to go from 0 to 100, right? They won't give you a chance to figure out what it is that you're trying to do in the moment. I mean, to be clear, again, I don't know what this individual, this driver, is accused of doing, but I do know getting pulled over by the cops, especially depending on your race in this country, can be a very scary proposition, and for very good justifiable reasons. Brown people are getting snatched out of their fucking cars simply for being brown and speaking Spanish. Black people have been getting killed by cops literally for no reasons at all. And they oftentimes originate with a bogus fucking traffic stop, right? So I understand fully why people flee from the cops, right? So, but the danger that these cops put the public in, put everybody else in on the highway is really unacceptable. But the problem is police in this country, because in America we do live in a police state, meaning that the police literally can do whatever they want. They are not bound by the laws they are sworn to uphold. They, in fact, get to break the law with regularity, with intent, with deliberation, and usually with little to no consequence, even when they fucking kill people. But if you start unloading your pistol on a crowded highway and you make no attempts to save other lives or put safety precautions in play to minimize the possibility that others would have been injured or killed, you can't be a police no more, son. Like, if we lived in a true and just and righteous system, those that were sworn to uphold and defend the law, when they break it, you gotta go. There's no reprimand, there's no suspension, there's no counseling. Like, you don't know how to wield this power and this authority because you placed others in danger, and that's unacceptable. So you can't be police no more. Sorry. But the systems are in place that no matter what these cops do, even if they kill people, even if they kill children, they'll be protected and still be able to maintain their position and their privilege. I want to go to California for a cops ain't shit story that I think more people definitely need to know about. Please, y'all, smash the buttons on your screen, the likes, the hypes, the subs. Please and thank you. I appreciate it. It's Burning Down with Kim Brown. So back in late September, I think it was the 26th of September, 2025, in Brentwood, California. This is going to be in the Bay Area. And there was an incident in which an elder, I'm not sure, she appears to be Afro-Latina to me. But this lady had an encounter with the cops. This lady had no previous criminal record. This lady had the cops called on her as a result of a family domestic dispute. And as a result, she ended up losing her life. And I don't think enough people know about this story. So September 26th, police were called to the home of Yolanda Ramirez's brother. Yolanda, 72 years old, was at her brother's house to take him to an appointment. An argument ensued amongst family members. Police were called. And then what happened next, I would say, should shock you. But in America, being elderly, being woman, being small, none of these things protect you against violence coming from the state, racialized violence, patriarchal, gender-based violence. Unfortunately, those that should be most protected usually are the most brutalized. So anyway, we'll pick up the story from there. Let's take a listen.
New at 11, a family in Brentwood is demanding answers after a 72-year-old grandmother ends up dead following an incident with police. The family says she had no history of trouble and cannot imagine she would ever pose a threat. So far, Brentwood police have refused to explain what happened. Here's NBC's Jody Hernandez.
I doubt if we were ever more than, 15, 20 feet apart from each other the whole time. We used to hold hands watching TV.
76-year-old Rudy Ramirez describes the love of his life and the center of his world.
I miss hearing her say mijo and mija. I miss her saying babe. I don't have anybody that's going to call me babe anymore.
Rudy's wife of 49 years, 72-year-old Yolanda Ramirez, died last month after a troubling interaction with Brentwood police.
Yolanda's family says it all took place in this Brentwood neighborhood. They say Yolanda drove to her sibling's house to take her elderly brother to a doctor's appointment. They believe she may have gotten into a verbal altercation with her sister when someone called police.
Neighbors first start being aware of what's going on when they start hearing her screaming. She's saying, "You're hurting me. Why are you doing this to me?"
Civil rights attorney Melissa Nold filed a claim this week on the family's behalf. She says witnesses said an officer forced the handcuffed elder to her knees on the sidewalk as she screamed in pain.
Witnesses say that when they got her to a police car, that they slammed her head against the window of the police car.
The 5'3" senior never regained consciousness. She was in a coma for a week with a brain bleed. Her wrists bruised from the handcuffs. She died on October 3rd.
If she's a threat to you as a police officer, you probably should not be a police officer. You should probably find another line of work.
Ramirez's family is left searching for answers. They say Brentwood police have refused to tell them anything. The department has never issued a press release or notified the public. We reached out to the interim police chief, who said he can't comment at this time.
That was her first and only encounter with a policeman. First and only.
Yolanda's family says none of it makes sense. They say she was kind, gentle, and loving. They need to know why she was taken away.
What happened to Yolanda Ramirez? I mean, if nothing wrong happened, why can't I be told?
In Brentwood, Jody Hernandez, NBC Bay Area News.
The family of Yolanda Ramirez says she'd be alive today if she hadn't been violently arrested by Brentwood police. This video shows Brentwood police confronting 72-year-old Yolanda Ramirez. Within days, she'd be dead.
If the police were never called, my mom would still be here.
Rich Ramirez is upset and frustrated. He says his mother died at the hands of Brentwood police after officers used force to get her in the back of a police car.
You never think that it's going to happen to you. And this situation is just so unreal. It's like a bad dream. And for it to happen, it's very shocking.
It happened September 26 when his mother went to her brother's home on Broderick Drive to take him to a doctor's appointment. She may have gotten into an argument with her sister there. Someone apparently heard yelling and banging on the door and called police. He says an officer grabbed his mother violently, pushed her to her knees on the sidewalk, then told her to get up before she was handcuffed and then moved toward a police car. That's when witnesses say the officer hit her head on the window of the police car before she was dragged into the vehicle. Her family says she went unconscious in the back of the police car and was taken to a hospital where she was removed from life support a week later. Jared Goodrich lives on the street.
I had a hard time trying to figure out to justify it. What was the threat? What was the need for the aggression to end up putting her in a coma?
In a statement, Brentwood police said a relative asked to have Ramirez placed under citizen's arrest and that she tried to flee the scene before suffering a medical emergency in the police car. Civil rights attorney Melissa Knoll has filed a claim, a precursor to a lawsuit against the city of Brentwood.
They're responsible for the injuries that they caused her. Like, the family knows she wasn't going to die that day had she not had this interaction with police and had not struck her head.
Ramirez worked for 30 years in data entry at Contra Costa Public Health and had never gotten in trouble with the law.
Understand it's a family dispute. Didn't have to get excessive to get, a 72-year-old woman to be put in handcuffs.
Now, the family's awaiting results of an autopsy by the Contra Costa County coroner, as well as an independent autopsy. Now, Brentwood police and the Contra Costa County DA's office are investigating. They say that dash cam and body cam footage will be released at a later date. Live in Brentwood, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And I'm sure a lot of people will want to see that video. All right, Henry Lee reporting live. Thank you, Henry.
East Bay family demanding answers from Brentwood police after an elderly woman died last month following a tense encounter with officers. Yolanda Ramirez spent a week in the hospital after that night before she died, and her family is getting ready to sue the city. John Ramos explains why they believe the department is hiding key details about her death.
In September, an elderly woman was injured on this street in Brentwood while in police custody. She later died from those injuries. Details are sketchy because the police aren't talking about it. So far, they haven't publicly acknowledged that anything happened here at all. On September 26, Brentwood police were called to this home on Broderick Drive. There, they found 72-year-old Yolanda Ramirez outside, who had arrived to take her brother to a doctor's appointment.
There was some kind of disturbance of the peace situation, and that's how they were called to go there. Starting to hear about some of the events that had transpired through witnesses, neighbors that are coming forward, and haven't heard anything from the police at all.
Rich Ramirez is Yolanda's son. He says police have yet to speak directly with the family about what happened, but for some reason, one of the officers went to arrest Yolanda, forcing her to her knees, handcuffing her, and then pulling her to the car. Neighbors heard the commotion and witnessed what took place.
They observed as the officer was taking her to the car, him striking her head on the window.
Melissa Nold is an attorney representing the Ramirez family. She says when EMTs arrived, Yolanda was unconscious and covered in vomit with injuries to her wrists from handcuffs. Yolanda died 7 days later at the hospital. But when she first arrived at the ER, doctors asked the family what happened because police never told them.
We don't think that they told the EMTs and the medical staff what happened to her about the head injury, because vomiting is a sign of of pressure in the brain and a head injury. And so had they properly told that, then they wouldn't have been asking the family what happened. How the heck would the family know what happened? Had they said that she struck her head on a fixed object, they would have had her in CT immediately, right? She's not conscious. She never, to our knowledge, never regained consciousness.
A document ordering Yolanda's car to be towed lists her as being arrested for PC 148, resisting arrest. But since her death, there have been no public announcements about the incident at all.
I personally reached out with my dad a couple times with the police to trying to get the police report to understand what had happened. We were told that my mom was involved in the incident and that we weren't. So if we needed to get that information, she would be the one to be able to provide that.
They would reveal nothing to you even though you were a direct family member?
Exactly, yeah. And given her circumstance and her situation, she was obviously unable to do that.
In fact, at this point, they only know what happened because Attorney Nold hired private investigators to interview the neighbors, something she said the police had not done.
They're obviously hiding something. I did have family members that have been online trying to figure out, if they're saying anything. We want answers, we want accountability, and demand some justice.
Late this afternoon, after multiple calls from the media, the police issued a written statement saying Yolanda was placed under arrest for attempting to flee. It said medical personnel were contacted when she appeared to be having a medical issue in the back of the patrol car. The statement made no mention of a head injury, and no one was made available today to answer questions.
The attorney says she has filed a claim with the city and is preparing a lawsuit. She's demanding public release of any body-worn camera footage, which the police chief says is being provided to investigators from the DA's office.
Interesting. So we're looking at 3 separate packages, 3 different news outlets. And what I'm taking away, I'm talking about the kind of quality of the reporting we just saw. It's standard local TV station reporting. Light on propaganda, you notice? And that's because the cops never came out, or eventually took several weeks, in fact, but the cops immediately never issued a statement. They didn't say anything about Yolanda's death for weeks. So as a result, the family's accounting and the attorney's accounting and the findings of the private investigator and the eyewitness accounts from the neighbors, like that information has been allowed to percolate and be disseminated without having to do battle with the counter narrative, the usual lies coming from the police department. And now when the Brentwood police did issue a statement, to be clear, this incident with Yolanda Ramirez happened on September 26th. She died on October 3rd. Brentwood Police Department didn't offer up a statement on this to the public at all until the first week of November, like 6 weeks after this lady died. Didn't say shit. They did identify the officer, though. His name is Aaron Peachman. He happens to be the head or the president of the Policemen Officers Association, the POA. It sounds like, Fraternal Order of Police or the Policemen's Benevolent, blah, 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 the apparatus, the legal arm, the union for the cops. And this guy is the head of it, whilst also being a Brentwood police officer. And apparently he's already given statements to, local investigators and prosecutors. But what do you guys think is going to happen as a result? Like, they are really going to try to find a way. And that's also part of the reason why the cops haven't come out and said anything, or it took them 6 weeks to make a statement at all, right? They couldn't find a way to smear Yolanda. They couldn't say that she was under the influence or intoxicated, couldn't say she was armed, couldn't say that she had assaulted somebody. Like, when they can't smear the victim of police violence, then all of a sudden they get fucking quiet. Now y'all ain't got shit to say. This lady was 72 years old, 5'3". In what reason, unarmed, sober, was where she was supposed to be, at a family member's house? What reason did this man, Officer Peachman, what reason did he have to get physical with her at all? And guys, and you already know where I'm going with this in part. Please do not call police to your home. Do not call the police on your family members. Do not call police on your loved ones. In fact, I guess if you're going to call the cops, call it on somebody that I suppose you want to see dead, right? Like, funny, not funny. There is a not zero chance that the cops will show up. The same police you summon to your home for assistance might end up leaving there having killed somebody at the residence in which help was asked for. This happens far too frequently in America, and I wish I literally had the courage to do some political education around it, because it literally, I can't tell you the anguish that I feel when I hear people who end up getting killed by cops because a family member or somebody called the police to the fucking scene. You gonna call the killers? You gonna call the executioners? Crazy, 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 crazy. And I feel as though in our society, we are so indoctrinated, so socially conditioned, that when there is a conflict, right? When there's a dispute, when there's an argument, even when there's a verbal dispute, nothing physical, no hands have been thrown. People want to call the I'm gonna call the police. Oh, Jesus Christ. Please stop calling the police. Because if everybody is non-white, the cops are going to assume everybody is the bad guy. Okay? It's going to assume everyone there is guilty and criminal, and they won't see any distinctions between youth and elders, between male and female presenting. They won't make those kinds of distinctions. And for them to make the statement finally to say that Yolanda Ramirez suffered a medical emergency. She suffered a medical emergency because Peachman slammed her head up against the window, allegedly. But actually, it's probably not allegedly, because as they said, there is evidence, video evidence from inside of the patrol car, and there's also body cam evidence. And them motherfuckers, I promise you, in Brentwood, California, are shitting themselves having just at the thought of having to release this footage, because I can assure you the shit looks terrible. 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 How else can it look when a fucking grown-ass man is manhandling a small 72-year-old woman? How else can it look? And this lady experienced distress to the point, they said in a separate report that I saw, a separate accounting that I read, that when the ambulance arrived, it took the EMTs and the officers on scene to carry Yolanda from the patrol car to the ambulance, and they said she was covered in blood and vomit. The attorney representing the family went on to say that prior to Brentwood Police Department finally 6 weeks after the fact issuing a statement that they had not yet interviewed 6 witnesses that the family's attorney's private investigator had spoken with. 6 witnesses in the neighborhood had not yet been interviewed by police nor by local prosecutors. Do you think that they are in any way interested in accountability or making sure that this cop is punished, right? Right? This sounds like a veteran cop. He's probably got, like I said, he's head of the Police Officers Association, the POA. He's got some clout on the job. And this lady just happened to be an elder Latina. whose freedom and like whose is about to be more defended? Whose liberties? Whose rights? It's not going to be Yolanda's. It's going to be this cop. And that's why we got to burn this fucking shit down, y'all. We live in a police state. I don't subscribe to this. I do not want to live in a country in which elders are beat to death, are put into comas by cops for verbal disputes. Whatever dumbass Americans think China is, or think North Korea is, or think Russia is, or think any country in Africa is, I promise you America is worse. You've been sold a bill of dreams about freedoms that are not experienced uniformly by all. And if that's the case, then the whole mythology of this dang blasted so-called democracy, it's all a facade. It's a mirage. It doesn't exist. And we should not support it. We should not hold it. We should not defend it. We should not call for more cops in our neighborhoods. We should not support when police say that they are short on 200 officers short on the fuck you. You don't need no more goddamn cops to go out in the community and do that. Y'all don't need no more fucking cops. Oh, the cops need more training. The fuck they do. This is the goddamn training. This is what officers are going to learn at future cop cities. Fuck this system. Fuck these pussy ass cops. Moving on. When I tell you that these people are threats to public safety, they're threats to public safety even when they claim to be chasing so-called criminals. So I want us to go to Tampa, Florida. Also this past weekend, I didn't have to look far to find cops ain't shit stories, okay? They were everywhere, unfortunately. And I didn't even pull footage of terrible scenes from Chicago, from Massachusetts, from California. It's bad. So anyway, so there was a horrific accident over the weekend in Tampa. I think this happened Saturday night. So that would have been the night of the 8th, morning of November 9th, where a young driver, I want to say he was 22 years old, early 20s, 22 or 24. He's been identified as Silas Sampson, a young black man. And what happened is Silas was allegedly racing on the highway when the surveillance state, the police chopper, picked up him driving fast on the highway and started pursuing him from the air, right? Then called on to see if there were any mobile units in proximity that could tail him, pull him over, issue him a citation. On a sidebar, I have gotten a speeding ticket when I was driving from a fucking chopper in the sky. I thought the shit was cheating to the highest levels. I'm like, what the fuck? You issued me a speeding ticket from the helicopter? I'm sorry, what? So that's a thing, right? So I don't know if that's what they are able to do in Tampa or in Hillsborough County or whatever. But I know it's possible that the police can absolutely send a citation to your house for speeding. They don't have to pull you over. I'm not sure if that's the case in Florida. But anyway, I want to play a snippet of the press conference. I believe this is the Hillsborough County Sheriff issuing a statement, because the long and the short of it is that this young driver, while being pursued by cops for speeding on the highway, he plowed into a group of pedestrians and diners who were outside hanging out in Ybor City in Tampa. And tragically, 4 people died. I believe 13 people were injured. And ultimately, the responsibility of the loss of life lies at the feet of the person who was behind the wheel. But I challenge to say that if police had called off the pursuit, if police had realized that maybe this individual was excessively reckless or putting others' lives in danger, that it may have been more prudent to not pursue him into a crowd of people. Let's look at what the sheriff had to say here.
Just this morning, just around 12:30, our air service was in the area of Hanna in Nebraska, and they saw two vehicles that appeared to be racing going westbound on Hillsborough Avenue towards the interstate. They see one vehicle go on the interstate southbound on 275. The other vehicle breaks off. Our air service goes over the radio and asks if any units are in the area. They're following the vehicle, our air service, going south on 275. This vehicle exits in the downtown area, and at that point, our partners, FHP, and one of our units sees this vehicle in the area of Nebraska and Palm. At that point, two FHP units attempt a traffic stop on it, and the vehicle flees, and then they attempt a pit maneuver. After that, unfortunately, this vehicle went at a high rate of speed down 7th Avenue, and tragically, just west of 15th Street, or just east of 15th Street, hit over a dozen people. And at that location, we had 4 that were deceased and 11 others that were injured.
Yes. So the 22-year-old driver, again, has been identified. They're in custody. They are facing multiple counts of vehicular homicide and other felony charges. And for their actions, they ought to be punished. But I want to be clear here. The police had the ability to at any time call off the pursuit. And it's no guarantee that had they called off the pursuit, this young person could have still plowed into the group of people while trying to get away. But the fight or flight sensation for folks is real. And again, I told y'all that the person who's accused of doing this is a young 20-something Black man. And when you think that there is a possibility that the cops could kill you, people literally run for their lives. I'm not justifying him running at all, but I'm questioning the importance and the urgency that the cops had to pull over a speeding driver when it was clear that they were headed into the downtown area. And I've been to downtown Tampa, and it is bars and restaurants, and it was very warm, favorable weather over the weekend. People were out, okay? The cops knew at 12:30 on a Friday night, right? Or Saturday night, a lot of people are outdoors, outside. Was it the safest thing to continue to go after somebody who was driving at high speeds in downtown streets? Was that the best decision? Did that save lives, or did that put more people in danger? Did that endanger more people? Because I think the cops are probably as culpable. Maybe not as culpable. They have some culpability here, but they won't be held accountable. Why? Just 4 people died. Just 13 people had to been taken to the hospital because the cops wanted to pursue a reckless driver right into a crowd of folks when they could have made a different decision. And what's the account? And to be clear, it's part of police protocol to call off a pursuit if the driver is putting other people in danger, or if they are putting other people at risk. It is definitely within their realm of decision making. They can absolutely make that call, and they had the fucking helicopter up in the sky. They could have followed this young man all the way to his fucking house. They could have called off the street pursuit and let the chopper follow him all the way home. But again, this sort of fugitive slave act, bounty hunter, retrieve them at all costs mentality costs innocent people lives. These cops don't like to let people get away for relatively small infractions. Oh, he was driving, speeding on the highway, driving reckless. He might have been drunk. Yeah, he might have been drunk. All the more reason to say that we can't pursue him downtown. There's too many people out. Keep an eye on him. Eagle One, tell us where he goes. We're going to set up a roadblock. We're going to set up a perimeter. Again, cops had options here, but they're cowboys and they're reckless and they have piss poor decision-making abilities and they don't give a fuck about innocent people and they don't give a fuck about public safety and they don't give a fuck about making sure that in the course of their job that everybody is safe and makes it home. They only give a fuck about themselves. And that makes them shitty public servants, okay? That makes you a shitty public servant if that is your mantra and your MO. But I want to send condolences to the families and to the loved ones of those that lost their lives in that tragic accident in Tampa. I know they're going to persecute this person to the fullest extent of the law, but are the officers, the people who had the authority in that situation, are they going to get disciplined, talked to, dealt with, counseled to make different decisions? Chances are unlikely. Where are we here? Hey, gang, I appreciate y'all being here. If you want to support the platform, we take the free support, which is lovely and great, and I love it. Thank you so much for the free support. That is likes, and hype. I don't know what the hype button points are, but do that. Shout out to everyone that's watching us on Twitch. What's up to Rosalba? What's up to Northern Witch? What's up to the Twitch crew, the Twitch Fire Famas? Support. Yes, free support. Thanks. We appreciate it. We take money also, and it's shameful. I mean, I just got to mention it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know ain't nobody got no goddamn money. but just in case you do, Cash App, $ BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB. And of course, always love to our patrons, Patreon.com/BIDWKB. And thank you so much to our very loyal YouTube members and to all those that have ever gifted YouTube memberships. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for trying to spread the word and keep us out here. I would say hot in these YouTube streets. Maybe we a little lukewarm. maybe we're a little tepid in these YouTube streets, but no matter. So I'm gonna close you out. I don't even really have a palate cleanser. This is something that I just wanted to bring to y'all's attention and just to kind of see what you thought about it. So over on TikTok, there is this lady. Her name is Callie. I think her name is Callie. She's a young white woman, and she has been calling churches across the country doing a social experiment. Now, this creator is asking churches if they can spare a can of baby formula. The experiment that she's doing, she's wanting to know whether or not churches will indeed step up and do their Christianly duty, but she also called other denominations as well. But she was basically testing typical Christian churches in the United States. And she wanted to see what their reaction would be to somebody, a stranger, a non-member of the church, a member of the community. And obviously these hard times with SNAP benefits being cut, people losing their jobs, cost of housing, cost of food, everything is astronomical. And churches get a lot of money. The churches are well-funded, well-supported. They are also tax-exempt organizations. In fact, church is multi-billion-dollar industry, but you ain't heard it from me. So anyway, so this lady's been calling churches all across the country. I think she's called 40-odd churches. And I want to give you guys an example of the response that she has gotten from a lot of these churches when she calls under the auspices of her 2-month-old newborn needing a can of baby formula. And guys, being that America, this Judeo-Christian nation, as the MAGAs love to tell us, founded on Judeo-Christian values, why else do we need you bitches to never be able to have access to abortion? Because this is a Christian country. And Jesus said in no chapter, no verse, any fucking where that you bitches shouldn't have abortions. Nobody ever said that in the Bible. So this lady was trying to test these Christians' Christianity. How do you think that went? Well, let's go ahead and this is just one church she called. I'm gonna tell y'all how it went when she called some other churches, but let's just run this run real quick.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help. Feed a starving baby. And right now I'm about to call Germantown Baptist Church located in Memphis, Tennessee, and we're going to see if they would be willing to feed a starving baby.
Thank you for calling Germantown Baptist Church. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. Press 1 for our address. Press 2 for worship service information, or press 0 for the operator.
Germantown Baptist Church.
Hi, I was wanting to see if you all could help with a small can of baby formula.
If we can help with what? I'm sorry.
Like a small can of baby formula.
Let me get the pastor on call for you. Let me place you on a hold. One moment, please.
Thank you for calling Germantown Baptist Church. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed.
Thank you, ma'am. I saw you hung up, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to call her back. But my system was jammed up, so I couldn't see who was actually on call. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's not working. And I usually print that out, and I didn't this time, but I'm just gonna walk back there and see, okay?
Okay.
Okay, one moment.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, yes. I was just wanting to see if y'all were able to help with baby formula at all.
We unfortunately are not. We have a benevolence program, but it is for our members.
It's just for the members, because, like, I have a 2-month-old and she hasn't ate since last night, so she's gone all night and all day without any formula. Like, I don't need money or anything. I just need like a small little can. And I've been calling everywhere, and they're just telling me call churches, and I just don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any formula here to give out. We don't have any kind of food bank or anything like that.
Would it be something you all could get and I could pick it up?
What's that?
Would it be something you all would be able to get and I can pick it up?
Well, like I said, if it's anything like that, our benevolence is for our members.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ooh. Very on brand for American Christianity. And to be clear, this was not a scientific experiment. I'm sure many social scientists may question her methodologies, but she was doing something very unconventional. And like I said, we'll look up her account for me, please, so we can send to people her direction so folks can check out all these calls. But again, she's made dozens of videos calling a variety of churches, from Catholic churches to Baptist churches to Episcopalian churches. She's called mosques. She's called Buddhist lounge, not Buddhist lounges, but Buddhist temples. And maybe not surprisingly, the majority of the churches told her that in one form or another that they were not able to help her, not too dissimilar to the responses that we just played right there, that their benevolence is for members, not for you poor randos out here. You can't just be helping randoms out in the community. Be serious. Be serious. Now, she did get a few yeses, including from very small churches. This one elder white man led church, I saw this call, and the reason I didn't pull more of these calls is because they're kind of lengthy. We'd be here for like 15 minutes just watching 3 calls, but just the shorthand of it is one of the churches she called was a Christian church. An elder man answered the phone and basically asked her, well, what flavor what flavor of formula does your baby want? You know, that's not really, we don't do a whole lot of that at this church, but if your baby needs it, I'll go to the store and pick it up. And then when she does get an affirmative answer or an affirmative response from a church, she discloses to them, hey, you know, I just called you for the social experiment. I don't need any money. I'm not scamming you. I'm just wanted to see what you would say. And by the way, the props of the baby crying in the background was a suggestion from one of her viewers, just I guess to sell it, to go in for the sale. One of the religious places she called that the video I think went viral was the Islamic Center of Charlotte in North Carolina, where the person who answered the phone, I think it was the imam, answered the phone and didn't hesitate. It was like, oh, yes, if you can come pick up the formula, we'd be more than happy to go pick up the formula for you. And you just come, yeah, come and pick it up. She called a couple black churches. She got similar response. One black church, however, she called, they told her no. And I think the pastor had a response. I guess he had a sermon diss for this lady where he called her a witch and he called her the devil and he said, I don't respond to evil, and this was manipulative. And there's been some criticisms about this experiment about, you know, well, she's lying. Well, if you go through a formal psychological study or whatever the fuck, Pavlov and all these rando niggas, what's some of them psychologist niggas, Kierkegaard, and I don't know what the fuck, the ones that were doing the experiments with people, right? The psychological experiments with people, where, for example, the one group thought that they were causing pain to another group in a different room by pressing the button, and then they found out that people are diabolical and sociopaths and will love to inflict pain on other people. So my point is this: a lot of what we glean about human behavior is learned through some sort of controlled manipulation of the information, right? So for her to not immediately disclose that she was doing a social experiment, how else is she going to get an honest response from whoever, you know, she's trying to test here? But it was very eye-opening, right, about what religion looks like in America. One response to her came from a Christian pastor who was complaining about the attention the Islamic Center of Charlotte has been getting in response. By the way, y'all, people went to their Google reviews and left thousands of 5-star reviews. And I saw the imam post a video saying that he was heartbroken because it seems as though Google took down a lot of these reviews for reasons unknown, right? Because some of the churches that this lady has posted about that did not offer her assistance have conversely received very bad reviews on their Google reviews. It's not a cute situation. I feel as though as part of all of that we have happening in the cosmos, you know, in the skies and the movements of the celestial bodies, exposure of deeply held views and beliefs and institutions and their real intentions and who they really are. Things are being revealed to us in ways that I'm not sure that we have experienced at this level. And I think the hypocrisy of American Christianity in particular is something that we cannot ever miss an opportunity to point out the contradictions and the hypocrisy, and again to juxtapose American church with Islam. This white Christian pastor had a critique about, well, the Muslims, it's part of their doctrine that they have to do charity. And it's like, yeah, why is it not part of your doctrine? Oh, charity is just something you talk about, not something you actually do. Charity is something that you do once a year, when you maybe go feed the underserved on the holidays. But I don't know. This country has a very overinflated sense of its moral self. America really, and Americans at large, seem to think that we are the most holy, we are the most benevolent to the oppressed, when it is in fact the opposite, right? So anyway, it's an interesting experiment. Will, did you find the lady's account so we can tell the people where they can go check out the rest of her videos?
Yeah, I shared it in the chat.
Brilliant. Can you say it just in case we clip this and it doesn't show up in the chat?
Nikali Monroe.
Nikali.
Nikalie Monroe. Monroe.
That's the white version of that's I'm let me shut up. Anyway, Nikali Monroe, a very it's interesting. I would go check it out. And also, in general, if you know religious folks, or you are religious folks, what kind of response would your church have given if called upon by a stranger, a non-member, during these very fraught economic times? If a stranger person had called and asked, not for money, a can of baby formula, how would your church would have responded? And if you're not sure, if it's in limbo, if you're like, I don't even know if my church does that, ask yourself, why doesn't your church do that? Why doesn't your church feed the community consistently? Especially if they make money, especially if they one of these big mega churches. She actually called Joel Osteen's church. She called Lakewood in Houston, and they put her off. She called another mega church in Jackson, I want to say. I think this was a white church, big white church. And they sent her to voicemail, and they told her on the voicemail that all of their community assistance was temporarily suspended because of the tremendous demand, because everybody's broke. People are in danger of going hungry. They're in danger of losing their housing. They're in danger of losing their jobs, y'all. Hard times in America is hard times. Gang, I'm going to bid you all adieu. I will see y'all back here on Friday for the Friday edition of Burning Down with Kim Brown. Please tune in to Black Liberation Media on tomorrow for the glorious Remix Morning Show. Ooh, did you guys see Ear Doctor broadcast? Well, we got to figure out how Ear Doctor did that. Ear Doctor had the vertical stream and the landscape stream at the same time. I don't know how we did it, but I could even see it backstage. I said, that's interesting. So anyway, we're trying some new things over at Black Liberation Media. Please join the comrades tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time. I will be back on the show Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time. And I'll see y'all back here on Friday. Peace to the wonderful Fire Fam. Oh, guys, don't forget, we still have merch on sale through Sunday, 16th. That sounds right. So don't miss an opportunity. You can get 20% off of BIDWKB hoodies. You can get 15% off BIDWKB long sleeve tees. The merch is very merchy. We have a wide range of colors. I like the stuff. But anyway, other stuff up there too. Bags, coffee mugs, take your pick. But the hoodies and the long sleeve tees are on sale because I need my Fire family to be fly in the fall. Ow! So you guys be safe out here. Please be safe. Look out for one another. Free Palestine, free the people of Sudan, free us, free us, give us free over here. Thank you so much to Will and Molly. Thank you to our wonderful mods, and I will holler at y'all back here on Friday. Love you guys. See y'all later. Bye bye. Deuces. Bye.